I know you're gonna get antsy. You're gonna like want to be itching to do more, and like this is a good time to sit on your hands. What's your plan with that?
Oh man, that's a hard one. It's there's no exact good way to do this one. It's just I think what I'm gonna have to do is look at it like if I were training, I'd be doing everything to the best of my ability to improve the training outcomes. Now all that effort goes to pec recovery. Welcome to Iron Summit, where we cover topics about health, fitness, and general performance through the eyes of former elite Division I wrestlers.
All right, we're live.
We're live.
Max, first episode with no stash, and you got something on your arm.
Yep, we're in a sling. It's awesome.
Oh, it's tough.
Yep. It all happened last Tuesday, a little over a week ago. It was the last heavy bench of my whole powerlifting prep. And I took it was supposed to be like 95%.
Yeah.
Ish. So it was 487 and just on the eccentric. I didn't even get any concentric in. I've watched the video a couple times now. But just on like the eccentric rate as the bar kind of got near my chest, I just felt like a rip in my pec. I was like, oh, that did not feel good. Put the bar down. Fortunately, definitely always have the face savers when you're benching.
Yeah.
Put it down on those. And yeah, I was like, that wasn't good. And then it was a weird sensation. It was almost like all the muscles around it were trying to like figure out what was going on. Like, so what I ended up doing was I tore my clavicular pec, which is the one that comes from your clavicle to your humerus. Tore that off the tendon. So the muscle just completely off the tendon. But like right afterwards, my pec, the rest of my pec was spasming. My shoulder was spasming. I think it was like trying to figure out like, hey, where'd that muscle go?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was on last Tuesday. And I got fortunate. One of my buddies, give him a shout out. He also listens to the podcast, Scott Leigel. He
Let's
wrestled at
go.
Wisconsin. He helped coach Mile High with me up in Eagle. Awesome dude. But I texted him. He's a PA for an orthopedic surgeon at Bentley Clinic. The shoulder and knee guy, Dr. Preventure. He's Dr. Preventure's PA. And I texted him like, hey, I think I tore my pec. Well, I wasn't really sure what I did though, but I was like, something was wrong. Like I
Yeah.
heard it, I felt it. Can I get in and get an MRI? He got me in for an MRI next morning. Confirmed I did in fact tear my pec off the attachment, and then chatted with him. They could get me in this week, but really the sooner the better with these things. And I reached out to my friend, Dr. Josh Steins, at Hospital for Special Surgery in New York City. He's done orthopedic surgeries on my knees before. He's like a good family friend, which I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing when your orthopedic surgeon is your family friend. But in this case, it was a good thing because he was like, yeah, if you get out here on Friday, I'll do the surgery on you. He looked at the images and we're like, definitely that's an easy diagnosis. You got to get that taken care of. So I got out and had surgery to reattach my pec this last Friday. So we're recording this on Wednesday the 3rd. It was Friday the 29th.
Yeah.
When I had it done.
Dude, that's crazy. So like, I don't know why I feel like it's such a common thing that like one of the most common things you hear about is people tearing their pec. Do you have like, I know we talked about this a little bit kind of offline, but why do you think that happens? Like it's so much pressure on chest, but then there's people that, they're world record holders in bench and somehow their like tendons and ligaments and muscles don't tear, but it seems like a super vulnerable position.
It definitely, I mean, so I've strained my pec multiple times, never anything like this though. So maybe, I mean, just personally, maybe I have something that's kind of weak in that myotendinous junction where the muscle connects the tendon up there. Because that's always where I've strained it too. But I think just in general, particularly a barbell bench press, just put so much stress on that junction.
Hmm.
I think it really, a lot of people get tears, and then in powerlifting, it's super common. You're just pushing the limit
Yeah.
of how strong your body is and how close to that 100% threshold you are. So I think, the combination of those two things, but I don't know. It's like, I think it's also like ACLs. Like it's just a vulnerable part of the body. And, the combination of probably a couple factors. One is the vulnerable part of the body, and two, it's a significant recovery. So you hear a lot when someone tears their pec because one, it does happen, and two, it's like 6 month recovery. And same with ACLs. It's a vulnerable spot, and you always hear about it when it happens. No one really talks about when they strain their LCL. You just immobilize it for a couple of weeks and you're kind of good to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably those things. But the pec is, yeah, it's definitely crappy because it's kind of like the ACL of the upper body. It's just like a long kind of slow recovery because you got to make sure you don't do it again.
Yeah. So they actually anchor the tendon back together or to the muscle, or what they actually end up doing?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple different, like you can tear the tendon off the bone, which fortunately I did not do. I don't think it changes my recovery that much. So one is they like button the tendon back to the bone. I
Mhm.
tore the muscle off the tendon. The tendon was still attached to the bone. It
Hmm.
was in the tendon, he said, was actually in pretty good shape. Just my muscle was like off of the tendon.
Huh.
So you had to just pull it back and put suture through the tendon and through the muscle and like close it, pull it together. So
Yeah.
that's what takes a while to recover. You just got to let that fully regrow and attach.
Yeah.
But it's pretty crazy. I mean, it's a pretty invasive surgery, and it's definitely a significant surgery. But I've been in very manageable pain. I think they're just so good now at doing it in a way that uh, the least invasive it can be, and
Yeah.
um, the nerve blocks are crazy. And I think
Insane.
that got me through the worst of the pain. Yeah, it worked so well. Like really, I'm unfortunate for the audience, not on any pain pills now, but I hardly needed them, which is cool. Like it's cool that you can have a major surgery and just not
Yeah.
have to rely on that kind of stuff.
No, absolutely. It is weird, modern medicine. Like I didn't really have surgeries growing up much. And then like since college wrestling, I've had two. So it's like, seems like a lot to me, but,
Yeah,
I guess relatively to most athletes, like that's not a lot, but, it was amazing when I did my ankle, a couple months ago. I couldn't believe how, I mean, I was awake for the whole surgery. That nerve block's amazing to be able to just like not feel anything. It's like very minimal pain pills, very easy to, um, I don't know. I can't imagine doing surgery, like even 50 years ago, but like 100 years ago, like how awful the first few weeks would be. So it
oh
is cool
man,
where we're at now.
crazy. Yeah. Well, so you had your ankle and which other one?
So I had a hernia the year before.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the hernia.
That was
Forgot
easy. That
about
was
the
like
hernia.
couple days, right? But I mean, it was like, I don't know, anytime you go under, it's a little scary, I guess, but it's like you just wake up, you're
Yeah,
like, wow, they just reset you. That's weird. You just shut off, press restart
yeah.
on the human brain and come back up.
That anesthesia is, yeah, it's wild. Nasty stuff though. You feel terrible for a couple days after. I felt like
Yeah.
yesterday, like 4 or 5 days out was the first day I felt like my brain was running full power again. Not a lot of power, but you gotta took 4 or 5 days to get back with little brain power I had.
Got to save all our brain cells. I'm with you, brother. What about so
Yeah.
obviously this is kind of a like Monday morning quarterbacking, but is there anything like looking back, obviously it's super fresh, but like that you would have done differently? Like do you think it's a recovery thing, freak accident thing, too much volume? Like is there anything you think you could have
Great
done
question.
differently?
So what was I'll start with the what no is the short answer,
Okay.
but
That's good.
looking and then you can hindsight 2020 anything.
Yeah.
But I had taken that weight the week before. It was 487, taken it the week before, and I kind of like handled it. It was a good rep. I wanted to clean it up. Like my coach looked at the video, was like, hey, let's clean this up just a little bit, take it again the following week. So I've already done this weight. No issues. Pec has felt actually as healthy as it has felt in a long time. And then it happened. The one
Yeah.
thing I can say is, and Alexis gave me a hard time about this, I felt like I was getting sick that
Mm.
day, but it was like not really, like maybe start of a cold.
Yeah.
And I've trained through being way sicker than that. And the power, so I was like, 2020 hindsight, probably shouldn't have done it. Maybe that played into it. Hard to
Yeah.
say for sure. But that would be the one thing I would have maybe changed. I know that my coach is an awesome coach, and he tried to take responsibility, which I really don't think should be the case. But like I said, maybe we should have saved you that week and just, had a longer peak. But I was like far enough out. That was 10 plus days or so until the meet. Like that's plenty of time to peak. So
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if there's anything I would have changed.
Yeah, it's tough too looking back. Like you could maybe connect dots, and I think as humans we try to find reasons for stuff, but like freak stuff happens and you never know what the like last thing was. You know, you could have torn it in your competition even if you took the next 10 days off to basically peak and stuff. But it is interesting too. You kind of mentioned the sickness training. And I think it's getting a little bit into the weeds, but you got to get into the weeds when you're talking about something like powerlifting or something like that. But I've it's kind of recently seen a lot of stuff that's interesting with like females and kind of training based on their hormone cycle, because it makes a
Yep.
difference for sure. But it is tough with everyday life because these aren't like numbers that stay consistent. Like you might just have a bad night of sleep just because you might have extra stress because of work, school, whatever. Or
Yep.
you just ate something crappy that didn't agree with your body and you don't feel good, but you got to go get it in that day. So it is tough to be like, hey, every time I feel a little something, I'm going to pull back. Like that's not really a recipe for success either. So it's tough to like toe that
Right.
line.
Yeah. You and I, we've talked about that. It is a tricky line to toe because I think it depends on the individual, but then inherently, whichever way the individual leans is kind of
Yeah.
going to be the way they go. But you and I, like, sometimes people probably like Division One wrestlers, people like we probably should lean towards listening to ourselves, toning it back a notch, not training while we're sick, because 9 out of 10 times we're going to make that decision to go when we shouldn't. Whereas some
Yeah.
other people have, they'll come up with the reason not to more than they should probably, and then there's probably a happy middle that's the healthy point. But yeah, it is a tricky line to toe because the powerlifting prep is a different animal, but like fitness in general is a game of consistency. So if you're constantly looking at reasons to not train, then you're never going to be able to be consistent.
Yeah.
Like you're going to have to figure out a way to train. But yeah, at the end of the powerlifting prep, like maybe kind of sort of getting sick. I know, like in hindsight, probably would have been the move. Might have stayed myself, but who knows? That could have just been a weakness in there I didn't feel, and
Right.
I would have torn it on meet day.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. I guess too, like it is funny. Like you said, I think talking to you before, it's interesting. Like there's a cool thing about powerlifting where you have to actually understand your recovery. And we talked about this with Logan too, earlier
Yep.
on a couple I don't know, maybe 10 episodes ago. But,
Yeah.
like, I mean, with the sport, you kind of learn to train when you don't feel great because you're going to have to show up on competition day, where like powerlifting, you physically can't move the weight when you don't feel good. And so you have to be really smart about
Right.
your recovery. And I think it's a lesson I'm still trying to learn sometimes where it's like, if you feel like crap, but you're like, it's stressing you out, you're like, I need to get this workout in. I want to like get for other benefits of the workout. Being able to like kind of drop your ego and do like lighter stuff or get something in that's like more recovery for your body, but still movement, I think is a good middle ground. It's hard because you're like, don't be a wuss, like go get this workout in. But it is, I think powerlifting probably has taught you a lot about like when to pull back on your body. And I think just knowing you, like you're really good at it. So obviously this is, obviously this is like probably a freak accident and stuff like that. But it is always tough to, I don't know, try to learn the lesson and see if there's any lesson in it. But it is weird in every sport. There's going to be some kind of setback that, there's not much you can do.
Yeah.
But knowing you, and we've talked about it a little bit, I'd love to hear kind of your recovery plan, because you're going to do everything right. You're going to get back to full speed as quick as possible. What's like your initial thought process? I know it's still fresh, but okay, how do we go from max? You got a long recovery road in front of you, but you're gonna do everything right to speed that up and do the best you can in this window that you have.
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like I'm taking up all the time with this life update. So I want to
No, this is good. This is good.
Yours. But so I want to get back, obviously, as soon as possible. Well, just because I love training. But you definitely, with this injury, you have to let it heal.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, there's a lot of things you can do to encourage healing. And the way that kind of, from a physical standpoint, we'll get into like nutrition and rest and that kind of stuff, what I'm thinking about doing there. But from a purely just like physical standpoint, they say like 3-4 weeks in a sling. Obviously, I want to be towards the shorter end of that if possible, if it's the right thing to do, because the sooner you can move something, get blood flow in there better. Same time, you got to let the sutures take in there and let the pec tendon reattach, because if not, kind of a moot point. So it's like 3-4 weeks in a sling. After that, it's like pretty light activity, like PT type stuff, joint mobilization for another 3 weeks. And then basically after that, it's like you can start moving some weight, like doing more traditional things, but it's all like very conservatively and pain based. And from there, they say it's like 6 months to full recovery. But that's like, full recovery means a lot for a lot. I think that's for like a general population. I'll be able to be training like hard, we'll call it like bodybuilding style workouts, dumbbell pressing, that kind of stuff, in probably 3-4 months. I'm not going to be barbell bench pressing heavy weight for probably closer to a year, right? That's like, those are the different sides of like that recovery process. That's kind of the timeline there, and I'll do everything I can. Work with my post-ops tomorrow, so I have more clear picture on PT tomorrow. But work with a great physical therapist, and my boy Mike Pinder up in the mountains will get a lot of good work in there. I'll do everything I can just in workout. In the meantime, it's really good to load your lower body for like growth hormone levels, staying in good shape, do a lot of cardio. That'll help promote recovery and healing, as well as train the left side of my body, because you actually retain more muscle tissue and your nervous system kind of stays fired up when you do train unilaterally, as silly as it might feel. So I'll probably have like a two like maybe 2 or 3 leg days a week, kind of split it up by muscle group, and then like a left side of body. Left body day. I'll work on that with my trainer. And then in terms of I had an interesting conversation with a guy who's kind of like a healing injury recovery expert, and named Anthony Casore. A couple interesting things I got from my conversation with him is, one is like jack up your protein intake. So he told me to target 400 grams of protein a day right now.
That's insane.
But that's 240 of which are like traditional, normal protein, like the protein I'd eat, plus an additional around 150 of collagen peptide.
So if we pause there really quick, that's a crap ton. But what was your your protein and then total calorie amount before, and then what's that now if you're at 400, and then what's your total calorie? Like, where are you pulling from that? Or are you
my
changing
carb
your
will come way down?
Okay.
Yeah, so before I was actually cutting a teeny bit of weight, which maybe played into the pec injury. It's another hole you could get into, but I was coming down in weight to weigh in at 242. I was like, man, not hard cut or anything. I was at like slight deficit, like around 3,900 calories, 250 grams of protein.
A slight deficit, which is more than 99% of people in
I was hungry too. Yeah. And then Now I'm not gonna track my calories, but my carbs will be significantly lower. I just don't need them.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that kind of training.
Yeah.
Protein will be a lot higher, and fats will probably be kind of similar. So I bet you I'll be probably similar calorically, maybe a little higher, just to be. You don't want to be in a deficit when you're recovering from surgery, but I'm also not moving as much.
Yeah.
Um, but probably around 4,000 calories, 400 grams of protein, fill in the rest with carbs and fat. Not don't need as many carbs. I have noticed though, it's kind of interesting. Like I am hungry, but like I can tell my body using it for
Yeah.
healing. It's noticeable hunger.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's crazy too, because it's like you said, you need to cut your carbs a little bit probably because you don't have the training demand. But there's a huge recovery demand where you still need to be fueling with some carbs and
Need it
other.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just so that your body actually isn't like, because I think people get nervous after surgery sometimes too, where they're like, hey, I don't want to get fat because I can't move around as much. But it's like, hey,
right.
you also want to like actually heal. You can figure out like the body comp stuff later. Like, don't put your body in more
Exactly.
stress right now while it's trying to heal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you don't need because I mean, and there's like multiple kinds of recovery. This is what I was learning from the Anthony guy. And there's like different pathways and like healing your muscle tissue post workout and delayed onset muscle soreness is like slightly different. That's where like your traditional proteins come in. Call them traditional. They're all traditional proteins, but like your
Yeah.
protein from traditional food sources, and then collagen peptides are a lot more like focused on like tendon, uh, skin, wound healing, that kind of repair. So that's why you step it up so high for you said like the first month post surgery,
Hmm.
eating that many. So I've been trying to get in that many collagen peptides. It's hard though. It's a lot.
Are you doing any like beet juice for blood flow or like cherry juice for some recovery stuff? Like anything else in addition to, obviously a lot of collagen peptides?
Yeah. So wait, funny you said beet juice. Alexa actually bought beet juice
Nice.
post surgery. So had some of that. Another thing I was told to take, and doesn't matter if you're eating carbs or not, it's something to do just with that like soft tissue recovery pathway, ketone esters.
Mm.
Drink them in the morning. Which first time I've ever done that, but I did it for like 5 days straight, right out of uh, post op. So did that, and then the other thing,
What can you
jacked up my
what's that for? Like what is that the reasoning behind doing
ketone
that?
esters. I'm definitely not a expert on ketosis, but the ketone esters help put your body into a state of ketosis, even in the presence of carbs.
Okay.
So you can kind of like cheat your way into a little bit of a ketogenic state, which I guess is good. This is where I'm going to get out of my depth for tissue recovery. So
Okay.
we'll
Huh.
call it ketogenic is good for tissue recovery. You can be you can kind of like cheat your way into ketosis with some ketone esters.
Yeah, that's
Taste
interesting.
like you're drinking. It tastes terrible. They're awful. It's like a little shot you do, and it tastes terrible. Like super metallic. Um, but yeah, that was something that I thought was interesting. What are some other things? Um, I mean, like really, it's like recovering. So trying to get as good a sleep as possible. Um, I tried to limit my taking the painkillers as much as possible.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid, anyone. Don't need
Yeah.
to tough your weight or anything, but they also do interfere with a lot of those recovery processes. So as soon as you can, got out of those. And then a couple of things, other things to avoid. Obviously, alcohol. No alcohol post surgery. Nicotine for all the Zen lovers out there is like awful for tissue recovery, which I do. I do enjoy the occasional Zins. So no Zins until this thing's healthy. Because that kind of like cuts off blood flow, especially to surface wounds. So really
Yeah.
not a good thing to be doing post surgery. And that kind of covers it all. So eating a lot of protein, uh, collagen peptide, ketone esters, good sleep, doing
Fish
everything you can.
oils. You doing fish oils, inflammation
Yep,
stuff?
that's the other bumped up my fish oil intake,
Yeah.
magnesium. Um, Thorne makes these things called pro-resolving mediators. I was told to take basically helps your body process the fish oils.
Yeah. Huh.
Um, and then there's a new, like a new essential fatty acid called CA15. Have you heard of it?
I am not.
CA15.
Yeah.
I think it's like a lot of the same benefit as the traditional like omega-3, 6s, and 9s. But the different essential fatty acid called CA15. You can get
Is
it
it
from a
from like
company called
fish?
Fatty 15. No, I think it's not 100% sure what it might even be synthetically produced. I'll look it up. But I was told to take that as well. I haven't got that yet. When that comes in, I will take it. It's called Fatty 15. The name of the
Fatty
supplement,
15.
P15, not CA15.
Okay. Huh. Yeah, that's weird. It's not, so it's not EPA, it's not DHAs, it's
Nope, it's the
C15.
first essential acid to be discovered since the omegas over 90 years ago.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Bunch of cellular benefit, good for healing. So I'm going to start taking that as well.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So now, okay, last thing then. What's your mental recovery plan? Because I know you're gonna get antsy. You're gonna like wanna be itching to do more, and like this is a good time to sit on your hands. What's your plan with that?
Oh man, that's a hard one. It's there's no exact good way to do this one. It's just I think what I'm gonna have to do is look at it like if I were training, I'd be doing everything to the best of my ability to improve the training outcomes. Now all that effort goes to pec recovery.
Yeah.
So if that means I gotta sit on my hands, that's what I gotta do.
Yeah.
In some ways it's harder than it is like for me it is harder than training hard. So
Yeah. No,
yep,
absolutely.
I'll have to look at it. Gonna set the record for the fastest full recovery from a pec repair. That's the goal.
That is not the goal.
Wait,
You're gonna tear it doing that
JJ
again.
Watt? No, I'm partly Ryan. It's got to be a successful repair. Otherwise, it doesn't count. The record doesn't count. JJ Watt played in an NFL game like 69 days
They were
out of his
100%.
surgery.
They were 100% injecting him with a bunch of crap and monitoring him every single day on a bunch of stuff. And
Well,
I don't
give
know.
me that stuff. Let's go.
Okay, that actually
What
leads into
stuff
my
was he
next
doing? I
question,
want
Max.
to know.
This is- Next question. Have you ever thought about like,
Turning into an interview.
I love it. So have you ever thought about though, like, why do this? Like I was thinking about the other day, it's like I love this stuff. You love this stuff, but it's like there's no physical reason you need to be benching 487 pounds, but you like it, right? And there's no real push to get back to like physical shape to where you can do everything you want to do again. Like obviously to a certain point, but in a couple months you're very functional with everything. But what do you think like motivates you? Because I think it's sometimes hard to like actually find that answer because it's like you don't need to be able to do that for everyday life. You don't need it to protect yourself. You don't need it to like, I don't know, for your work. You don't need it for, it's just like you enjoy it.
Yeah, it's pretty much that simple. That and deep-rooted insecurity. It's I have I don't know what it is. It's the same thing. Why become an elite wrestler? It sucks. It hurts really hard. You get herpes. Girls don't even like wrestlers. Like why did we do this?
You
Right?
you
I don't
escalated
know.
that very
Whatever.
quickly.
Like, that's all true though. Did anything I say? Was anything I said not true?
No, you're right. You're right. I guess I knock on wood. I've
Why
never
do
got
it?
the H bomb. So, but yeah, it's a common thing.
It's a matter of time. Just a matter of time. Ryan always holds that card over everyone's head so fancy with the herpes free.
Immune system.
Yeah, it's in there somewhere, waiting to come out on you. But that's a whole side tangent. No, why do any of it though? It's just
Yeah.
I don't know, pursue something difficult and not be average.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good point too. And like, I've been doing a lot of camps recently, and I think one of my favorite parts of the camps is at the end talking to the kids about stuff. And I think one of the biggest things that I've realized just kind of through doing, like, kind of having a little bit of a spiel at the end is like, we pursue meaningful things that are tough. Like, nothing that's easy is worth having because everybody can have it. And so I think part of that's this is like, it's really hard to go to the gym every single day. And it's not something that like, hey, you just made $100 million and so you're set for life. It's like, hey, you're in great shape. You still have to do it every single day. Otherwise you will lose that very
Gotta
quickly.
earn it every day. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think like pursuing meaningful things and pursuing hard things, if we can like shift our mindset to like, everybody doesn't want to be average, but everybody wants to put in like average amount of work. And so like that disconnect of like leaning into, hey, I want something that not a lot of people have. So like, I'm also going to have extra effort that not a lot of people have. But I don't know if that's overly simplified, but it seems like we like certain things because we like certain things, but we also like it because it's hard to attain. And then once you obtain it, it's like, I want to continue to like, this becomes part of
The
like some
pursuit.
value. Yeah. Yeah. The pursuit. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like, I don't know, in physical, whether it's wrestling or powerlifting or just training really hard, like physical challenge, but really any challenge and moving through that challenge is like the meaning of life. And if you
Yeah.
don't do it in some facet, whether it's mentally, physically, spiritually, however you want to do it, I think you're going to have a uh, pretty sad existence, a life
Yeah.
devoid of value and value creation and meaning, because doing hard things is what it's all about. And I do think, hard things physically is probably actually the easiest place to do it.
Yeah.
And like and for me, I find it very enjoyable. It's a very controlled way to do it too. You can put yourself in a lot of pain. Like when you go through, there's different kinds of pain, but like in a workout, when you get to that spot where it sucks, you are making like a moment to moment decision to keep going.
Yeah.
And that like moment to moment decision, the more you do it, the more you build trust in yourself that you can do it and you can repeat it in other aspects of life or in training again. So it's kind of that whole pursuit process
Yeah.
you end up really falling in love with. And that's where, why you want to have the fastest recovery you can to get back to doing that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that reminds me a lot of too. I know we talked about Logan earlier, but I think he had a lot of wisdom in what he was saying too. Is like Jordan Peterson always says, like, take on as much responsibility as possible. And I think that's like purposely overwhelm yourself so you can like level up. You continue to pursue hard things, and that provides meaning. And I think some of the most like depressed and sad people are like the people that like they have nothing that they're pursuing that's difficult. And as much as it sucks in the moment sometimes pursuing those difficult things, it's like so much more rewarding than sitting on the couch and having everything handed to you.
Right. It's a catch-22 because a lot of people think they want, like, you think you want the relaxing, chill life full of just endless vacation and, yeah, sitting on the couch. But really, like, that is not what gives you that feeling of good.
Yeah.
That's like, you do that all the time, life's going to suck.
No,
So it's kind of
absolutely.
like this inverse catch-22. That doesn't mean like go grind every day and, let's say all those silly axioms that have very little truth behind them, but it does mean like doing the work is kind of the meaning. But that's a long philosophical answer
Yeah.
to your question of why do we do this.
No, I love it, man. And I think it's cool too. Like, as crappy as this is, like you've had a good attitude through it all. And you're still at the start of the journey. But I know that you'll keep that through everything. And I think it's a good reminder too. The silver lining is like how much more grateful you are when you are healthy, because you don't realize how big your health is until you're like, oh, I need help, changing my clothes right now. I need help, getting in
Yeah.
the shower or like going to the bathroom,
Yeah.
and then you're like, wow, I'm really grateful to be able to have a physical working body that I can climb up this mountain. I can go skiing. I can go, hiking. I can do whatever. So I think it's cool that you got that perspective, and yeah, you'll be back in no time, man.
Yeah. I'll be back. All right. So now what's your life update, Brian?
No,
We have a
that's it, dude.
couple
We got
couple
to
big
cut this one.
Nope. We're extending.
We're extending. All right.
Yeah, we're
So
extending.
big
Big
life
life update
update.
for
I'm
Ryan.
getting married in 9 days, so that's kind of crazy. That's super excited for that. It's gonna be Yeah, it's gonna be great. I didn't realize how much goes into like a wedding until you like actually plan a wedding. And my caveat to that is like Chloe's been amazing. She has definitely taken on the lion's share of that, and I think as most I don't know females like they kind of think about it their whole lives. Where
Yeah,
I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm like this is gonna be
different. I
great.
totally. You think about it your whole life, but not like the event,
Yeah, yeah, and it's
right?
like
Like the celebration. Yeah.
and I think too. Um, Guys are like cool with like a bouncy house and pizza. They're cool with like very minimal. It's like, listen, I don't mean actual bouncy, but I just mean like simple, right? Like good music,
Yeah, you do.
good food, good people, right? Like
We
it's
all know
good.
you.
Like I
You
don't,
actually wanted to bouncy house.
dude, honestly, it's a little too late now, Max. We're 9 days out.
Yeah. It's
But yeah, so it's exciting, man. I'm
I know what you
excited
mean.
for it. Yeah. Yeah, it's like I think it'll be really good. It'll be really good. Actually, on that topic, what do you think? How long have you been married now?
This is back to I have questions for you, but we're coming up on 3 years.
All right, can you give me like, I don't know, a couple key points you think about with marriage? Like somebody going into a marriage, what are like your top, I don't know, pointers?
Okay. I think number one, and I feel like you probably do a good job at this, is just communication. And that means um being able to tell your spouse like good things and bad things and being truthful and doesn't mean and say you can communicate things in a nice way, but
Yeah,
you got to be honest and don't and I like not only and I think part of good communication is not like just getting it out, but getting it out as close to when you realize it like as possible,
yeah,
good and bad.
yeah,
That's like true clear communication. I think that's probably the most important thing. Um, and then obviously Chloe's always right. So definitely get used to that.
Hey, hey, if you're listening to this, don't. she, she just walked by. But no,
She's definitely gonna always be right.
I
So you
think
can communicate, but you're also wrong.
yeah, you just accept that the day you get married.
Yeah.
No, I like that, dude. I think communication is such a that's such a great piece because I think it's something, I don't know. I think everybody can always get better at that. And I don't know. You never know how somebody is. You ever read the Four Agreements?
Yeah.
I think it's a great book because you never know how somebody means something. And it's so easy to take something personally or like assume something about what somebody's saying. And, I think understanding how people take things and like understanding how to bring stuff up and communicate it clearly to the best of your ability because they can't read your mind is huge.
Yeah. It's super important. Yeah, that's like number one. I think the it comes off kind of stems off of communication, but being willing to uh improve, like we were talking about, do the work.
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to get married and then it's not it's like being in good shape. A good marriage is not achieved the day you get married.
Yeah.
It's an for every day. Not like and I don't mean that in a negative way. It's not like a grind or anything. It's obviously like the best thing ever. But it is effort every day to like be the best version of the husband that you can be.
Yeah.
And like sometimes means looking at things you didn't do as well as you could have, or sometimes you just uh sometimes you're like, I did that really well.
Yeah.
That was awesome, but recognizing the things you did do well. So it's
Yeah.
like that constant that like we were talking about, that constant pursuit of being the best husband. I think like approaching it that way and doing the work on it, combined with good, clear communication, those that'd be my top two things.
I love that. Yeah, growth mindset and awesome communication. That's huge.
Yep. But so you getting married, 9 days. Talk. I mean, like something people don't really talk a lot about, but it's a ton of work. Are you guys like super pumped to just get it over with, or how much planning's left? What do you guys
Yeah.
got?
No, it's that's a great question. I think
Like that?
yeah, it's there's a little bit of stuff we still got to button up, and then obviously week up there'll be some stuff. But I think this last week was kind of getting everything pretty much buttoned up. But yeah, it's like I think we're really excited for it, but there's also always I think a sense of relief the fact that like it is a big event you're kind of planning, and there's like you start thinking about three things, and then there's like four more things out on top, and then this other thing comes up,
Yeah.
and this comes up. So I think it'll be good for it to be um like to have it behind us too, because I think at the same it's gonna be an awesome day, but it's also I think a little bit of a relief knowing. But like we were talking about earlier, I think it's like since there's a lot of hard work that goes into it, it's like something that you can enjoy more because it wasn't like
Yep.
okay, this took 2 seconds and everything was the flowers showed up, the DJ was here, the whatever
Yeah.
else is all set. Like it was like there's a process, and now it's time to enjoy that long process.
Yep. It's like it is really stressful, and you get pretty tired of planning it for sure. I'm sure Chloe's even more burnt out than you are. But then yeah, the day comes and you kind of forget about all of it,
Yeah.
and yeah, you guys will have a blast.
Yeah. No, it's
And
exciting
then
for
what
sure.
other you guys got honeymoon right after that?
Honeymoon and then moving out to back to Colorado. So it's
Yep,
busy
that's
time.
the other big
Yeah.
life update we haven't really
Yeah, I
talked
guess we haven't
about there.
really talked about that. Yeah, moving on from coaching. So Chloe just got into a PhD program at CU Boulder, and so then we're moving back there. Obviously, from Colorado, excited to be back close to family and stuff, and back to the roots. And then so we're finishing up in California in the mid-August, moving back out to Colorado.
Yep. And I know you don't know exactly where you're gonna land professionally, but you want to get into the world of business slash finance, that area, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've talked a bunch about some of the stuff, but yeah, interviewing at some places and want to kind of get into, like you said, business finance, and kind of always knew I wanted to go this way eventually. Funny how it kind of worked out this way. But I'm excited. I think it'll be weird kind of getting away from wrestling. I wrestled in college, and then now I was coaching in college, so it's very like I was around it for a long time. So it's gonna be a little weird, but I think once I get my feet under me a little bit with the move, with kind of figuring out job and all that stuff, it's like I'll definitely be around wrestling, and it's cool to be back in Colorado, kind of where I grew up, and around familiar. I don't know. I've always been rooting for Colorado wrestlers, so it'd be cool to be able to hopefully give back to that community a little
Yeah,
bit too.
absolutely. Like it's how yeah, I was gonna ask like how do you think, as you shift away from coaching wrestling, how do you think your relationship with wrestling is going to change?
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I think that's a funny question. I think I'll miss it, but it'll take me a sec to miss it more because it's like I've never really had a break from it. But that being said, I think the older I get, the more I realize like I like the aspects that like I love wrestling. It was awesome. But I think the aspects of wrestling that are important to me are like the life skills that it teaches people. And so I think wrestling's cool because it's like a vehicle you use to like develop these strong characteristics that'll help you with the rest of your life, with relationships, with jobs, with whatever you want to do. And
Yeah.
so I think I'm a little more interested in that aspect now than I used to be of like, hey, have the best double leg in the world, or hey, the best single leg in the world. Like that's super important. I love the aspect. I'm super competitive. But I think like realistically, there's maybe 0.1% of kids that are going to go on and like achieve anywhere close to their goals. And so it's like, how do you get something out of this so that it's not just like you're wasting your time and then you never achieve what you got. And I think it's funny just talking to a lot of people too. Like I think wrestling, a lot of people have like a lot of like trauma with wrestling a little bit.
Yeah.
And so like I don't think I really have that as much. Like I feel like pretty at peace with the sport, which is I feel like I'm in a good spot with. But like it definitely there were times in wrestling where I was like it was a big deal. And having a perspective I have now, it's like, listen, there's so much past that. And so if I'm able to like even communicate that to like one or two, kids while they're growing up so that they can be more well-rounded and not take it so seriously, I think that's like a cool
Yeah.
opportunity. And the closer you get to, I think college wrestling is awesome. I love it. It's so fun being around high-level athletes. And so I'm definitely going to miss that. But it's also like, those guys are pretty refined when they come in. You might take a month or a year working on somebody's single leg or one specific finish, where it's like the closer you get to like beginner, the more ability you have to change people. And I think that's any education process, right? So it's like you could play a bigger impact. I was texting with some of my old coaches, last weekend, just like, hey man, really appreciate what you did for me after I lost this match. Like it like taught me a lot and it meant a lot to me growing up. And like, I was just some kid and you invited me over for dinner after I lost in the state finals. And so like, it's pretty cool the impact coaches have, whether they recognize it or not. And so I think that's like, I don't know. I think I'll always be around it in some capacity for sure.
So you do want to get into helping coach in some capacity.
Yeah, I think so
on
for
like
sure.
a high school or a lower level.
Yeah, dude, I'm locked in.
Level.
I'm locked in with the sport. Like, I don't know. I'm not going anywhere.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I didn't coach in college afterwards, so it's maybe a slightly different perspective. But I think one thing I really enjoy, and it took me like when I was done college wrestling, I ended at peace with the sport, but I was not ready to miss it. Like, right. Yeah. And I still don't miss doing it competitively. Every once in a while I do, but there's so many things with wrestling that make that it's a huge commitment. But what I can say is I have learned, I think, to love the sport a little more and like the actual sport of it when you're not like you did it as an athlete. And then there was pressure tied because it was your living, right? Like, so when you just like are a fan and help out where you want to help out, you get to have a different relationship with wrestling. That's pretty cool. And that's like, then you definitely want to help instill, because then you get to see, oh wow, wrestling's like really cool sport. It's really fun actually. But like if you can help instill that, it's so hard to have that perspective while you're in it because it's so intense. Like it's just maybe it's just like something you get to have when you're done and you get to earn it. But yeah, it'll be fun to see like how your relationship with the sport of wrestling will change.
Yeah,
become Ryan Deacon, the wrestling fan.
Yeah, dude, it's weird because I don't know, you get to a point where, I mean, I did 6 years in college wrestling, like a Division I wrestling season for that long is like, it gets stale, it gets tough. There's many times I had to like relock in mentally. And then, I didn't, you're almost like towards the end, you're like almost ready to be done. Like you see all these 5th, 6th year COVID guys that are like 7th, 8th year COVID guys that are like, they generally don't do better. Like I think your best year is your junior year because it's just like a lot of I don't know. It's a lot to just repetitively do that every day. Dude, I literally think like 1 for your body, but 2 just mentally. Like I think most guys, I have no stats to back this up, but I think most guys peak their junior year of college in terms of athletic ability or performance. And I think that's just because it's fresh enough, but you have enough wisdom to like stack a couple of years of additional training on top of it. But yeah, it is weird, man. I see a lot of people have a weird relationship with the sport, so I'm hoping I don't have that weird relationship.
No, you will. You'll have a good relationship. Be able to give where you want, and it'll be fun to watch you grow in that relationship. I'm sure you'll end up liking wrestling more for it. I think in the end.
Yeah, it's funny. I like grew up thinking the same thing. Like I had buddies that I think they liked wrestling more than me. Like they would like show me videos of technique and stuff, and I was never like super nerdy about that. Like I would watch film, but it was like for a specific reason or for something. Where I think they just were like doing it for the love of the sport. And I'd be like, does he
Right.
like wrestling a lot more than me? And so I don't know if I'll change to more like, you know what I'm saying? No, I was like, I like the process of it, I think.
Yeah.
And I definitely enjoy like the moves and stuff, but I'm not like,
Oh, I totally. When I was in
I don't
college,
know.
like I would watch film because I had to be a better wrestler. Now I'll watch film because I'm like interested in the technique.
Exactly.
Like totally different relationship with the sport. And no, when like you couldn't have, I barely like mustered up I did because like the guys and like to watch like Olympic wrestling and stuff. You're like, ah, dude, I'm like I had my fill of wrestling for the year. Like I don't need to watch more wrestling now. Like I can't wait for the Olympics, right? Like
Right. Yeah.
yeah, it's just a different play.
It is.
You
It
get
is
to be more
weird.
of a fan. There's no pressure, and I'm sure like coaching is like halfway in between, but there's still a lot of pressure tied to wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, there is for
So
sure. No, it'll be interesting. We'll see. That's in progress for sure.
yeah, that's the next phase. And wherever you do land professionally, we know you're gonna kill it.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I think I'm gonna be drinking from a fire hose for at least 6 months here, but I'll figure it out one foot in front of the other, you know? So we'll
Yep. Like
yeah,
you said, you developed all those great skills from wrestling to
yeah.
help you drink from that fire hose.
Well, you know what's funny too is like I was thinking about this though. I think one of the biggest adjustments to changing career tracks like that is I mean, like a lot of my job, there's a lot more than just wrestling right now, right? But a lot of my job is like staying in shape and doing stuff. And so I think I'm going to have to have new routines around, health and fitness because it's not going to be the same kind of like, oh, by the way, at every day for 2 hours, part of your job is to like go get a workout in and wrestle with these guys. And so I think
Right.
that'll be an adjustment as well. But it's like anything, we'll figure it out.
You're not gonna get all skinny on me, are you?
But trying not to, man.
Become a become a real pencil neck. I don't know if we can tolerate that.
Listen, hey, Max, I didn't want to say this, but I just thought of it. It might be too soon, but I'm going to say it. My bench is bigger than yours right now, and it's the only time in my life I can say that. And so I'm going to hold on to that, and I'm going to keep training that so that I can catch you, and we'll be on the up and up together.
Yeah. I mentioned. Well, it depends what. One arm dumbbell.
Yeah, but I can do two. So if you double the weight,
Yeah. I was trying to think like, can I grab the barbell with one? I'm like, no, Ryan's way too strong for me to. I
next
can't.
episode,
No way.
Max has torn both his pecs.
Trying to one arm bench more than Ryan.
Oh, yeah,
Oh
no.
man.
So you're just gonna have to eat that one. I remember when you called me skinny legs, so
Yeah, no, I deserve it. You're gonna get to make fun of my bird chest over the next few months here.
you're a bird
You
chest.
just
You're not
watched
gonna.
it.
You're
That
gonna
is
be
one thing.
massive, but it's gonna be
I
small for you.
yeah, I'll be depressed. Yeah, it actually takes like a pretty long amount of time to lose
Absolutely.
actual muscle tissue. You lose all the glycogen and the hydration and the muscle and that kind of stuff. But by the time I'm actually losing muscle mass, I should be able to start doing light stuff again and start like kind of retain it. It won't be as full or strong, but I shouldn't lose too much actual muscle mass. That's the
Yeah.
goal.
Well, and the other thing is too, man. Like, as long as you're not rolling over on your sleep on it weird or something, like you actually can like not do anything without, like your arm is immobilized in a sling. You're not like
Yeah.
accidentally falling down or something. So I think it'll heal. Like obviously it's gonna take some time. Everything takes time, but it'll get to that like critical mass point where it's not vulnerable, I think quick, just especially knowing you too
Yeah.
with all the extra stuff you're doing for it.
Yep. I'll get back soon. But yeah, so we got some major things happening over here. And Ryan's getting married, becoming a full grown adult. Kidding. You've always been one. You getting married, getting into the professional world, probably gonna get skinny.
No, don't do that.
And
Hey, wait, you have one more life.
hey, you know why I'm saying it? You know what? Well, for before we get there, you know why I'm saying it? Just so
What?
you don't, because I
That's
know if
good.
I
Yeah,
insult you, it's like
that
I'll take
works on
credit
me
then
for
when you're
sure.
not. You know?
Yeah, okay, that's
Yeah,
fair. I appreciate that.
yeah, yeah. One more life update for me, and this is like I don't know. It's I'm this is like the biggest life update, but also I don't love sharing as in public forums about this. I'm just not good at it, but I'll do it anyway. Is yeah, I'm gonna be a dad in
Let's
December, so
go.
definitely next. It's like I had actually my buddy Scott, who's the PA for that doctor that hooked me up. He's a dad, and he said it's not a new chapter, it's a new book.
Ooh, okay, that's a good
So
quote.
yeah, yeah, it is. I like that. That one stuck with me. So yeah, that's the next book.
That's such a cool thing coming up, and yeah, we'll definitely have to talk more about that stuff because I think as you get closer to, I'm sure, and then once as it's happening, it'll be fun to pick your brain, kind of as the new developments
Yeah,
and what's
yep.
yeah.
I think it'll be all the same stuff we talked about on growth mindset, continual improvement. Um, Definitely gonna be drinking through a fire hose, but we'll figure it out.
Yo, figure it out,
It'll be awesome.
dude. That baby's gonna come out so jacked.
Probably got the potential.
No, that's awesome, man. That's so cool. I'm so excited for you. That's gonna be awesome. And then yeah, you'll be right at the right. It times up perfectly. You'll be able to use your pec again right around that time, hopefully.
Oh yeah, I'll be 100% then. I'm gonna definitely be venting more than you by then.
I'm gonna enjoy these next few months of being stronger than you.
So whoa, that's a generalization right there.
Max, I mean, same swimsuit bottoms, bigger bench. Like I'm just slowly notching my wins, you know?
You are. You're slow. You're taking them where you can. I'll give you that much.
I
I
got to.
no, you well, you have to before you become some skinny pencil pusher. Yeah.
All right, that's a good cut. That's a good decision.